better things to do tonight than die.
Springer here, and you are listening to All Things Transformers.
Cliffjumper, commence countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello and welcome to All Things Transformers. This is episode 164. I am, of course, TFWIRE Mike. Steve Megatron is off on Eucharis or somewhere else doing something else with some sort of rubber ducky or something. I don't know. Joining me for the multiple times he has already, but joining us for almost the first or second time on this podcast. It's kind of like a TFWIRE reunion. We've got Jesse, a.k.a. Matrix Prime. Hello, sir.
What's up?
Not much. And of course, Ryan, the Uneven Flow, a.k.a. Nightbeat, is here as well.
Yeah, because I'm on all your shows because you don't pay anybody.
I don't pay you either, so...
Yeah, I know. And you're desperate. So, like, you scrape the bottom of the barrel, find people who aren't doing anything, and, you know.
Well, you have just about as much time as I do to do this crap now, so why not?
I'm drinking some alcohol over here.
There you go.
So 2/3 of TFWIRE.
Yes.
We do.
Yeah, 2/3 of it. Sadly, the other third is...
Well, if you could just talk about some random Japanese stuff, it'd be pretty much the same. Oh, anyway.
So we are here tonight. This is a bit late, but scheduling and vacations.
I'm going to weasel my way into one of his YouTube reviews or something. Ask him to chat.
Yes.
Anyway.
So we are here a few weeks after the Transformers Fathom Events for the 86 movie happened September 27th.
Under a week for us, because it played here for a while.
That's because it... Fucking Canada. Anyway, yes, so Fathom Events, Transformers the movie in the U.S., one night only, September 27th, 7 p.m. local time for the most part. According to the info I have here in the U.S., they showed the 30th anniversary Shout Factory released edition. The only reason why I know this is, number one, we all have that edition. At least I hope all three of us do. I know Ryan has like 20 different copies of Transformers the movie.
And they're all worn out.
Several of them on VHS.
So I actually don't have the 30th anniversary.
Really?
Yeah.
Which
is why I was asking you guys prior.
Oh.
I highly recommend it, and I'll explain why, I guess, then.
Well, I'll explain too as we're going here.
Okay, because, one thing I'll get out of the way. Our cut of the movie and so it was clearly not the 30th anniversary that played up here, because Hot Rod's color was off, as well as the Devastator animation/color error was there, and some of the other stuff that they fixed up. Because I went home and I watched the 30th anniversary a couple nights after. I can't remember which viewing it was, but yeah, I was sure it was different, and yeah, it was. And then the big difference was the sound sounded like ass. What the hell? It was not 5.1. Holy shit. My crappy I used to not swear on TFWIRE. Whoops. Anyway.
This is not TFWIRE. It's okay.
I guess. Whatever. Anyway, my crappy old computer speakers sounded better than the tinny, especially some of the sequences, like, I don't know, Wreck-Gar's voice. I swear my ears were going to bleed. Jeez.
Now, did you see it in a theater that you normally go to?
Not really. I mean, it's still one of the larger theaters, but it's now old. It was the newest, fanciest theater about a decade or so ago, but now it's not.
So you don't think it's necessarily the sound system in that place, then?
No, I've heard movies sound way better. Like, we're talking stepped on my cat's tail bad at points here. Like, oof. It was... I don't know what it was. Like I say, I'm pretty sure it was the 25th anniversary DVD version or print or whatever you want to call it they were playing. But, man, the audio's way better on that. Like, the audio is better on the crappy bare bones DVD I've got, so I don't know. Somebody couldn't, like, loan him a Blu-ray player or something?
Guess not.
Whatever, though. It's still enjoyable. Anyway.
Yep. In the theater that I go to, we've only gone to a couple of times. We just moved to the town that we live in currently this past March, so I don't know. I have only seen 2 movies in that theater, so I have no idea what the track record is on their sound system. But like I said, ours was the 30th anniversary.
What was the other movie?
The Incredibles 2.
I was hoping it was something really bad, and I was going to make fun of you. But... I mean, I'll make fun of you anyway. But...
Of course you will. You always do. So let's get the Bumblebee out of the way first. What did everyone think of the preview for the new non-Michael Bay movie?
It looks better than the Michael Bay movies.
Technically, he is still on it. He's producing, but producer is such a it's a wide scoping thing. But thank God he's not in the director's chair.
It feels like it's aiming for a younger audience than some of the Bay movies. I don't know if anybody else feels that way, but although having said that, the humor is still more sophisticated than Bumblebee pissing on someone.
That's true.
Or dogs humping, or 5 minutes of statutory rape discussion. So oh God, I hate those movies. So the trailer and everything else, I mean, it looks good. The biggest difference, we talked about this on this show a week or so ago, though, it's filmed way better than any of the Bay movies. The cinematography is so much better. Like, the robots are all in frame and in the middle. So, I don't know. I mean, I'll probably see it. I'm a Transformers fan. On the other hand, I'm real skeptical, because fool me once, shame on me. Fool me 5 times, shame on somebody else. Yeah, shame on me, even worse. I tried to misquote Bush, and I failed miserably. Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I'd misquote your current president, but I'd make more sense. So.
That's true.
Wow.
What about you, Jesse? You'll notice I always get one America dig in every podcast we do.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, so that was the thing with this event, right? There was supposed to be this special preview of the Bumblebee movie, and what it really ended up being was just an extended clip of the very first teaser trailer, or the very first trailer.
Kinda, yeah. I don't know what you got. Yeah.
They didn't really show much of anything. So I guess what I saw. So I don't know if there was multiple clips. What I saw was essentially the introduction of Bumblebee to the lead female character. I don't know her name.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Inside of her garage. And it was just kind of like an extended version of that, which we'd already kind of seen in, like I said, a previous trailer or the very first teaser trailer.
Ours showed also like people being, talking about the movie.
Yeah, we had an interview and then the actual trailer, as well as the
yeah, I guess there was that in there, but I was expecting to see something new or different. I mean, the behind-the-scenes talk wasn't really that
interesting,
great or interesting. Yeah,
it was
I wanted
John
to see
Cena talking about his vision of the '80s, and
right.
He can't see you now.
Right. No, I like the trailer. The trailer that came out after that, where we got to see, on Cybertron more of the Transformer characters. I wish we would have seen more of that at the preview.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I say, I'm curious enough about it. Like, even without the trailer, I would probably be interested enough to go see it. I mean, at the very least, I'm hoping it's a popcorn movie, just enjoyable. Hoping it doesn't cause me physical pain, like Age of Extinction.
Or The Last Night. Or Revenge of the Fallen.
So The Last Night, I had just given up. Right? I'm pretty sure my brain had just eaten itself. And so when stuff happened, like a watch killed Hitler, I was just laughing hysterically. And
I'm almost positive I fell asleep during that movie.
I think I just lobotomized myself, really, is what happened.
I think I potentially found it online and potentially only watched through like 35 minutes of it, because it was just like I could not sit here.
So I don't know. Who did you guys go with? Because I ended up going in a group, and it included 2 people who had never seen the movie and had no attachment to Transformers. So I'll kind of get into that in a second.
Jesse, who'd you go with?
So I went with my fiance.
So did I. Only my fiance, not yours.
So she's a couple of years younger than I am, but also born in the '80s. And I mean, I've talked with you. I talked to Ryan a little bit about her in the past. So she was big into comics growing up. So she's also, kind of big on the whole '80s cartoons. Like, she knew of Transformers, but she wasn't a big fan of them. I showed her the movie, the animated movie. She's seen the live action ones before we were together. But no, she was interested in going. I think overall she enjoyed it. It wasn't her, it's not really her cup of tea, but she kind of went because I was into it. So
yeah, I'm in the same boat. My wife and I went, and normally when I'm showing my wife Karen certain things, or we have a show that we're going to go to, that like when I went to the Blackstone Cherry concert back in March kind of a thing, I will prep her. I gave her pretty much no prep work with this. And our buddy Ender from Radio Free Cybertron, Matt, who lives about one town over from us, everyone's heard Ender on Radio Free Cybertron at one point or another. He's the really loud one that has really cool opinions. Well, I'll send you something that he did a while ago.
I was going to say, I used to listen to that too, and I don't know that I know him either.
Well,
I just didn't listen to it. I used to listen to TFWIRE when it was Jesse and Spada, and then I started thinking, hey, I could do this, and Jesse had the open tryout thing. Then you lost my audition, and I ended up resending it, I think, about 3 months later.
Oh, boy. So he showed up with his children, and we all kind of sat there. They were in a row in front of us. It's all right. It's fine. He's teaching his children well. And there were various other people throughout, and so it was all fun and games. What was funny from my wife's perspective, any Transformers fan is either going to say every single line, or they're going to mouth it under their breath, or whatever out of this movie. Well, I was saying some, but I was trying not to be as loud as some other people in the theater. She basically told me that there was a guy to her left and then me to her right, where basically it felt like we're saying the movie in stereo to her. She felt it was super corny, the entire movie, super corny, super cheesy. She had never seen it before. And I did not prepare her for the awesomeness that is Stan Bush or Spectre General or Lion or any of that stuff with the music.
As I was sitting there and the movie started, I told my fiance I was going to recite the entire thing as it was going, and she told me she was going to punch me if I did that.
Yeah, so I went with Sarah. She's born in '86, but she wasn't allowed to watch cartoons growing up. Oddly enough, she ended up watching Beast Wars, which I guess didn't count because it wasn't animated or something. I don't know. Whatever. Anyway.
Computer, man. Computer.
Yeah. So she had nothing going into this. She had no real knowledge. She just wanted to go because I was super interested. I ended up sort of transfixed by it. I didn't say anything the entire time. And in the end, she absolutely loved it, to the point that she borrowed one of the soundtrack CDs, and she's going to do some of her painting to it on a Twitch stream.
Oh, sweet.
And she just really liked it. She wasn't expecting essentially a rock opera, which I guess, yeah, I can see that. And she's not a huge fan of a lot of movies. She's a lot more... People think I'm uppity and discriminatory in my film choices, but oof, she's worse than I am. Although it's weird, man, she likes some real bad TV shows, but I suppose I watch some trash too. Border Patrol, Can't Pay Will Take It Away.
Oh my god.
I got a thing for the mean-spirited ones. So deep down I think I'm a bad person, I don't know, but in any case, yeah, and there was one other who went with us who hadn't seen it, and she was there, same sort of scenario. She was there with her fiance, and she sort of enjoyed it, but it's so weird. Sarah and I ended up talking about this on the way home. If you wanted to be cynical, this is just a really long commercial for a bunch of new toys. But there's something to the movie that's helped it and the characters endure all these years. Like, there's something more than that. And I think a lot of it is, it seems like care went into everything. For all the animation errors and that kind of thing, there's some pretty good voice performances, especially by the actual cast from the show. I'm pretty sure some of the others just did it for a paycheck. Like Orson Welles is pretty famously derided being in it,
but even
it was
still,
his last role.
Even still, like the bigger stars that they got to do the voice roles, I don't think any of them were terrible.
No, they're all serviceable, like at the worst, and part of it's because they distorted some of their voices to shit. That it's not great, but none of it's bad. And like I say, for whatever reason, I think a lot of it too is there's a lot of memorable moments to the movie that help a lot. I mean, everybody remembers the Optimus Prime Megatron fight and Optimus dying. Mm-hmm. A lot of people remember Starscream's coronation. Like, they get through the characters really quickly, and a lot of movies based on TV shows fail miserably at that. But in this one, you get a real quick sense of who Starscream is and Megatron, et cetera, et cetera. I don't know. There's something about the movie that just kind of works, and I've never been able to put my finger on it exactly, but I was reasonably impressed that, you know, Sarah and Stephanie were... Sarah definitely enjoyed it. Stephanie was kind of like, it's not bad, but it's not great.
So that was kind of like who we went to the movie with. What was your guys' audience like? Like, what was that comprised of?
Mostly adults. There were a couple kids in ours.
Same here. I think the only actual kids were with my buddy Ender. I think those were the actual... I don't remember seeing any other kids. It's mostly adults.
I played for a week here, and almost all of them, it was mostly adults. And a couple kids, and that's the breakdown.
Did anyone dress up?
Not that I know of.
I wore a couple of my Transformers shirts, but that's about it.
Same here. I wore my... I've got a shirt from Ripped Apparel that has Cyclonus on the right, Galvatron on the left, and Starscream on stage. It says "Bad Comedy Night." So,
I wore my Hawaiian Megatron shirt from many years ago
with a tutu.
No, and Sarah wore the shirt created by Mrs. Wreck herself.
Oh. LadyWreck, yes.
Yeah, so she borrowed my shirt.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned...
And I wore pants, which was a lot of people were impressed with.
Let's hope you were wearing some sort of something.
Well, they would have been more impressed if I didn't. Oh, anyway, so...
So really quickly before we move on, we will actually be hearing from LadyWreck, BeatlesDiva, and Ha-Hee Prime later in this episode because I've pre-recorded a
You didn't
reaction.
tell me about this. I can't be on with these people.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
They're not here. It's pre-recorded. It's already done.
Oh.
So maybe we're repeating the same things they've already said.
Yeah.
No.
And he probably paid them too.
Son of
I
a
don't
bitch.
pay anybody. I just blackmail them.
Awkward silence. Well,
Exactly.
So getting back to my question, so my audience was comprised of essentially what you would assume the majority, Transformer fans.
Mm-hmm.
There were
some.
some.
Hoping you were going to just say losers for some reason.
Well, you can.
I'm a terrible human being.
One could equal the other. I didn't want to.
No. Wow, so...
But there were some parents there that had kids that I would say were probably between like 6 to 8 in terms of age range. There might have been a few that were a little bit younger than that. But it wasn't, just guys. It was like there were guys, there were girls.
Oh, yeah.
There were older people. I didn't see anyone dress up as a Transformer, but yeah, there were plenty of people that had Transformer shirts on.
Yep.
I had a number of Transformer shirts, but they're all T-shirts, and it was cold the day I went to see it, so I didn't wear those. But yeah, I was actually surprised by the diversity in terms of the crowd size.
Cold, aren't you in Detroit? You could have just huddled up to a flaming barrel.
No, I'm not in Detroit.
Oh, darn.
He's in Michigan. He's just not in Detroit.
I just assumed all of Michigan was either Detroit or Flint. So either way,
no.
Fire and there's no water.
My water's at least safer to drink.
I just assumed there's none of it. So our audience was mostly the parents with kids were parents who obviously had seen the movie before.
Yeah.
Which I got a kick out of. I don't know, I think it's cool that, joking and everything aside, it's neat that a lot of these people got to share it with the younger generation, or in my case, share it with a significant other, that kind of thing. And I should note, every single one of the kids cried when Optimus Prime died. At each showing, and I'm not kidding.
Wait,
Just
at each
as
showing,
long
you
as-
go to multiple?
Yes,
Yeah.
he did.
Yeah, I went to it more than once. Hey, why not?
It's because you threw your VCR away, right, and couldn't watch it at home?
Yeah, I mean, I've got the Blu-ray, but all I can do is spin it on my finger really fast, so it's not the same.
You're like, why isn't this mini record working?
Yeah. Record, I keep trying to put in my 8-track player.
Oh boy. So yeah, several things happened with our audience. Somebody basically, even at one point during the movie, tried to play the touch on their phone. They did it before it started, and they did it as it was playing. I said, before the movie started, I said, okay, so nobody's going to cry, right? Everybody's like, no promises. Like, we're all adults here. Come on. The interesting thing with the showing...
Adults can cry at movies, come on.
Yeah.
That's not fair. What? It's true. Yeah,
I know.
try to watch Field of Dreams and not cry at the end of the movie.
I mean, I've cried at a number of movies, but I've never cried at Transformers, the movie.
Yeah.
I did as a child.
Not
Actually,
since I was a kid did I cry during this movie. The interesting thing, and what I like about the Fathom Events stuff, this is the first Fathom event I went to, but what I think is cool is it's its own thing. It doesn't have the standard 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 previews of whatever's coming. It's basically, because basically Fathom Events are basically whatever's on the DVD or whatever they add into the DVD, and they just play it on the screen kind of a thing, as far as I can tell, as far as I know.
No, I want to say we actually had trailers before it.
Did you really? We did.
I want to say we did, yeah.
Yeah, we didn't.
Ours started with the Bumblebee special preview, and then immediately the DEG logo popped up after that. And
With the gong?
Yep, with the gong.
Try hearing that gong in shitty, not 5.1.
Oof. Basically, what Ryan's promoting tonight, folks, is don't watch this movie in Canada in theaters.
No, I'd still recommend it. Like I said, I was transfixed by it. It didn't ruin it or anything. Just, I don't know, I still enjoyed it. But yeah, it would have been nice if it...
Now, is this probably not for Ryan? I don't know about you, Jesse. This was my first time seeing this on the big screen. I was 6 when this thing came out. I didn't get to see it until late 87, early 88. I think I saw Duke survive before I saw Optimus die as a kid.
Yeah, this was my first time seeing it at the movie theater. I hadn't seen it since, as a kid. I didn't see it until it actually came out on VHS.
Yeah, same here. What about you, Ryan? Had you seen this in theaters or no?
Yeah, I saw it as a kid, and I wouldn't find out until much later that I
Like
had seen it
privileged
as a
spoiled
kid.
boy.
Because it traumatized me so bad that I've just blocked it out. It would be 12 years... no, it would be 9 years later. I watched it on VHS when it got re-released in Canada on VHS for the first time, and I watched it and I realized, wow, I've seen this before. Where? And I had to think really hard, and eventually it came to me. But yeah, I just kind of blocked it out because it traumatized me as a kid. Good times.
So you were that kid in the closet crying over the death, right? You were that kid that wouldn't come out of his room.
No. I don't think it was that bad.
Yeah, it's interesting seeing this on the big screen. I thought it was great.
And I brought all my figures and I reenacted the scenes.
I'm sure you did. Pew, pew, pew.
Yeah, so I don't know what was wrong with your audio when you saw it up there in Canada, but I didn't experience any of the tinniness that you were describing. It sounded really good in my theater.
Yeah, same here.
Well, they got to make up for not having water somehow.
No, I do have a question about the Fathom events. So I pre-ordered tickets, I want to say back in August. Is that when it was announced, or end of July, something like that?
It was the end of July. I pre-ordered mine, I think, July 27th.
Okay, so the day that they became available, or no, I take that back. They became available in July. It wasn't going to be playing in my area. In fact, I even tweeted about it, Mike, and then you commented on it. And
I
then
did too, yeah.
And then it became available at one of the local theaters, which I think was in early August, and that's when I pre-ordered my tickets.
Yeah.
At that time, I want to say the Fathom Events page said, maybe I'm wrong, I don't have it up right now, I don't know if it still exists, but I want to say that they were giving away free, I don't know if they were mini posters or just regular sized posters while supplies lasted.
Yes.
At the event. I didn't see any of those.
Dude, I pre-ordered, like, Amy, Nicole, and I were recording that night that I was waiting for the Fathom Events thing to go live. I'm just clicking refresh, because we were doing one of the comic episodes for the pullback for Transformers.
Whoa. So hang on. So you recorded a podcast about you sitting there clicking, waiting for stuff on...
No.
Wow, that is riveting. This is the stuff you're adding to my podcast. This is terrible.
What do you mean your podcast?
I gotta talk to my agent. This is brutal.
What agent? You don't have no damn agent. Hell, I'm your agent more than anybody else at this point.
Oops.
Anyway, so I'm sitting there waiting because they're like, hey, it's gonna go live at this time. So where Amy, Nicole, and Heather are throughout the U.S., they're closer to the West Coast, so I'm usually up till 1, 2, 3 a.m. Eastern time kind of thing. And I'm just waiting for this thing to go live so I can go ahead and get the tickets and whatever else. I was actually surprised it was in my area because we just moved. Where we live now, it's 35 minutes, 40 minutes outside of Chicago. And yes, Michael Bay still has the city destroyed. I was shocked. So I went and purchased them, and it said, yeah, show up early to get a poster while supplies last. We showed up a half hour before the thing was supposed to start. We showed up like 6:20, 6:30, something like that, Central Time. There were posters and other things for other stuff, but there was no Transformers posters at all.
Yeah, we showed up about 30 minutes early, and I didn't see anything.
Yeah, no. There was supposed to be, and it did say while supplies last, so...
So the people who work at the movie theater probably took what was there, is what you're saying?
Mm-hmm. Probably.
So I assume you threw a fit, and...
No. So, I mean, I didn't really want the poster anyway.
I was talking to Mike. I figured
I
started to cry and roll around.
No. I wanted to see what the poster was. That's really, like... Sure, show up, get a free poster, great. I wanted to see, like, I have my Transformers posters. I don't need anything else at this point. I have one from the G1 show, and I have the original movie poster kind of thing. So I just wanted to at least see the damn thing. If it was just going to be a poster-sized version of Livio Remendelli's 30th anniversary DVD cover, I don't need that. Would it be cool? Sure, but I don't need it. So there was nothing at your theater, huh, Jesse?
No.
Yeah. Usually with that stuff, the theater employees usually grab the best stuff most of the time.
Wow, accusing employees of theft on a national podcast. This is a new low for you.
Like anybody's going to listen to this.
That's usually my joke.
Yeah, well...
I'm on it now, see, I don't have to listen to it, so...
Like you were going to. No. It was enjoyable. I'm really glad they did this. I just think it's neat that a younger generation got to experience it. And, I don't know, to me it doesn't matter how you get into Transformers. Like, I'm a fan of it. If you got into it through the Bay movies, that's fine. Like, they're not my jam, but just because I'm not a fan doesn't mean you can't be, or stuff like that. Like,
the first one's still pretty good.
Oh yeah, I still enjoy it, and I don't know, like, I don't like what's happened in especially the last few years with pretty much all fandom, where you either got in at blank time or you're not a real fan. That bullshit. I always hate that. Like, it's like the old truck not monkey discussion for.
Yep. It's silly. You know, we said this last week, or a couple weeks ago when we did episode 163. There's something in Transformers in the franchise for everybody. You don't have to, everybody doesn't have to be a fan of the IDW comics, although most of you should read them at some point. No one has to be a fan of G1, G2. Like, we all have different things that we like and different things that we don't really want to pay attention to. What were you going to say, Jesse?
I mean, if we're talking toys, then the last however many years has just been a rehash of G1 anyway. So.
Yeah.
And it's still going.
I liked when I liked the combine. Well, yeah, we're getting off topic, but I liked the Combiner Wars stuff because they took the IDW aesthetics and kind of shifted, and then they got away from that, and now, just the Siege stuff. I don't know. My thing is, at this point, what I've done is I have one of the characters that I really like. If it's a favorite character, or if it's someone like Optimus or Megatron, I've got more than one version of them usually, because I swear even if you don't collect Transformers, you probably still have two versions of Optimus Prime somehow in your home. Like, I think they just sneak in and put them there when you sleep. But the characters I like, I've gone out and I've got a lot of cases, third-party ones or Masterpiece or whatever, just my favorite version of those characters. I don't need any more. Yeah. Like, I don't even have the room to display them if I get more. So, I just got a new Rodimus that I'm a huge fan of, for example. I'm going to sell off the, classics Hot Rod I've got, and that's just what I do. And I just kind of keep the best version of them, because I'm at the point where I've got the income for the fancy schmancy third parties or masterpieces, and just, if you can't do something different that's, in my opinion, at least, doesn't improve on it, I'm not going to bother picking it up anymore. I don't have the room to keep everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Can I bring us back on topic?
Sure.
No. Okay. So Mike, you mentioned people crying, or was it?
That was me.
Okay, Ryan mentioned it then. Did you guys get any other reaction from the audience while the movie was playing?
Ours was mostly pretty quiet.
There were a number of scenes in my viewing where people literally laughed out loud. And then, I would say the majority of them were Starscream scenes. So early on in the movie.
Yeah, there were chuckles at the Starscream stuff. So kicking Megatron, the shuttle scene, and then the coronation scene were all pretty big hits. But sorry, I thought you meant kind of like out of the ordinary reactions.
Oh, no.
or in Blanchard's case, people being dickbags during the movie or something.
Yeah, we got all that stuff too, as far as the laughs when he kicked him and that kind of thing.
I assume that in Detroit, Michigan, Jesse, that
where I don't live,
everybody got angry when Megatron won and just started shooting the screen. So
I mean, that's true. That is true. Yeah. So. It looked like Swiss cheese by the end. So with all the bullet holes.
He's so evil. I'm gonna bust a cap in him.
Okay, so I've got one other question for you guys. Mm-hmm. And so I was doing a little bit of show prep here before.
Whoa! We never did that on TFWIRE.
That's not true. I always had show notes. Come on. So while Mike was doing whatever he was doing and Ryan was looking at porn, I was getting ready here for the show. Something like that. So Mike, you said that this was supposedly the 30th anniversary edition of the film, correct?
Supposedly, because and I could be wrong. I'd have to ask Fathom on Facebook or something. The only reason why I think it is because it was also branded as a Shout Factory event, and they're the ones that did the 30th anniversary DVD Blu-ray.
Okay. So
they did the 25th too, but anyway.
So yeah. The only two I actually own two versions on DVD. I've got a couple of different versions on VHS as well, somewhere. I don't know where. But the DVD versions I have are the Rhino one, which has the big yellow special collector's edition at the top.
Yep.
It's the full frame, and then I actually have the 20th anniversary edition,
20th
which is both the
anniversary.
widescreen and the full screen by
Yeah, that's
Sony
the
BMG.
Sony BMG. Yep.
So, I haven't seen the 30th anniversary version. I was going to buy it on Vudu back when it came out. Was that last year?
Mm-hmm.
Last year, right? No, 2 years ago.
No, 2 years
Day
ago.
6. Holy shit!
It came out on I think it came out on August 8th, the release date. So I think
Man,
it did.
time is going way too fast.
Yes,
So,
it is.
I might as well
By the
hold
way,
out for the 35th anniversary then.
Also, I should note that Rhino is Shout Factory, so
Yeah.
Is it?
it's all
Okay.
the same.
Yeah.
So,
Anyway.
so I don't have the 30th anniversary to compare, but what I noticed while viewing it in the theater, and I noticed this on a number of different scenes, was the cropping of the frame. And
Yep.
the show prep that I did here beforehand was I took the 2 different DVDs that I have, put in the 3 discs, so 2 full screen and one that's the widescreen, and took screenshots of one particular scene. And that's when Unicron was giving Galvatron his ship.
Mm-hmm.
And in each one of those, I guess I can share them with you so you can see what I'm seeing.
Mm-hmm.
If I can figure out this Skype.
There you go.
So just drop that in the chat. So this first screenshot here, notice how dark it is?
Yep.
This is the 4:3 full screen version. This one is off from the Kid Rhino one.
Yep.
So that's just the special collector's edition. The next one here, the time code is really close. It's not identical, but it's essentially pretty much the same. So this is the full screen version of the 20th anniversary.
Yep.
Right.
And then here is the widescreen version of the 20th anniversary. So first and foremost, looking at those, I can't believe how different the colors are between the widescreen and the full screen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But in each one of those, so in the widescreen one there, so the bottom one, you'll notice that you don't see, like, part of the top is cropped off, but you still
Yeah.
see where the door or the cargo bay door, whatever that is, that opens, that the shuttle comes out of.
Yep.
In my version that I viewed in the theater, I saw none of that. I heard the
Really?
sound effect. I heard the sound effect of the door opening. I didn't actually see any of that you see right there in that screenshot on the screen, and I just saw the ship kind of drop down, from the top of the screen. So that was the first scene that I noticed specifically where the crop of the film was not correct. Later on, when the Dinobots meet up with Wheelie, this is where we get the
Everyone's
spirit
favorite
reference,
character.
maybe.
Yeah, everyone's favorite character.
There were a number of scenes where Grimlock's head was cropped off on the top.
Interesting.
And I'm like, this can't be right. So I went back and I watched I pulled up the DVD and I'm like, yeah, they wouldn't have animated his head off the frame. So I don't know if that is the same in the 30th anniversary or what.
It is not. It is not. It is not. Go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah, I was just going to say, so the 30th anniversary Blu-ray is correctly widescreen,
Okay.
as in they didn't just stretch things or that kind of thing. It also doesn't have... They fixed a lot of the animation issues, and the coloring is much different / improved.
Okay.
Like, real heavily. Like, Hot Rod is the right color
It's funny you mention
again
that.
for the first time since 86.
86. Yeah. It's funny you mention that because I actually took over 15 screen caps of Hot Rod and sent them to Brian Ward, who was the producer on the 30th anniversary for Shout Factory, and basically helped them, make
here
sure
we go.
they
He's
could
taking
color
credit for
correct
stuff now.
I'm not taking credit for their work. What I'm saying is, as a fan, I submitted, hey, these are the pictures that, these are the best angles I can get of all of his...
Did you get a credit on that?
No.
No.
I know someone who did get credit on the movie, though.
And that is...
Stan Bush?
Just going to leave us hanging?
No. Yes, Stan. No.
Peter Cullen?
Funny. God.
Me, who wrote the movie?
Right. Okay, Ron Friedman.
Well, I mean, that's as believable as you helped them correct. Hot Rod. No, just
what
kidding.
What I'm saying is, though, I did send them Brian Ward on Twitter asked, hey, does anyone have a lot of pictures of Hot Rod, or can they get me a lot of pictures of Hot Rod so we can work on this? I said, yeah, sure. I'll email them to you. I emailed them 10 or 20 different pictures of Hot Rod in various ways and yada, yada, yada.
Poses.
Ha, funny.
You said you blackmail people. Don't look at me.
I'm not going to blackmail the producer at Shout Factory, thank you.
I meant maybe you're blackmailing Hot Rod.
A fictional character, there's nothing that they can get. Anyway, the other person that I know that got credited was Randall Nigg. He does the Dr. Smooth videos. So, yeah. Anyway, next topic. Do we have a favorite scene still after all this time? Like, after seeing the movie in theaters again, is there a scene that you guys like the most, Jesse?
I have to narrow it down to one.
Sure, why not?
Well, that's going to be hard to do.
Oh, come on.
I guess if I have to narrow it down to one, then it's the... So I'm a huge Starscream fan. I've said that on one of your podcasts in the past. Mm-hmm. So anything that Starscream is in, especially like because he's in a limited portion of this movie, but the scenes that he's in, it really gets across his personality. So anything that he's in, I absolutely love. But if I have to narrow it down to one, then it's definitely when, Prime shows up on Earth, he transforms, he's going to go kick Decepticon ass.
Ryan?
Yeah, I was just going to say the Optimus Prime Megatron fight, which to a certain extent includes that as well.
Yeah.
And the fact that they actually killed Optimus Prime. I mean, it's true. That took some balls, especially in the 80s. Didn't happen a lot.
No. Hence why Duke stayed alive and didn't die.
Yeah, Duke's okay. I just got a phone call. Oh, yeah, sure. I mean, yeah, he just got impaled through the chest. I'm sure he's just going to walk that off.
Yeah. For me, it has to be, like, yes, I do agree, and I do love the Optimus Prime Megatron fight and all that.
Your favorite scene was Wheelie.
Oh, hell no. I'm not Spada. What the hell are you talking? Who the hell you think you're talking to?
Look behind.
Oh, God, stop, please.
You feel I say.
Oh, God. It has to be Hot Rod and Cup's fight with the Sharkticons. I've always found that hilarious. Like, that's the Three Stooges moment of the movie, regardless of what.
Strong. And most people, I think, the scene in that, or the sequence in that when the Dinobots come in is pretty popular too.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
The whole scene with the soundtrack, that's a pretty good scene.
Yep.
Yeah, the soundtrack, for whatever reason, is one of the other stars of the movie that I forgot to bring up. And I know Sarah loved it, and I know it's, let's be honest, it's kind of cheesy. It drips in 80s-ness.
Yes, it does.
But for whatever reason, again, it works perfectly in this movie. Like, I couldn't imagine listening to this with another amount of music or an orchestral score or, something like that.
Yep.
The majority of it is either Stan Bush or Vince or whoever songs.
Yep.
Or, Spectre, General, Lion, whatever. Or it half the time
everyone else on the soundtrack.
Yeah, I was just going to sit there and list them, and then I decided not to. Or sometimes it sounds like somebody leaned over on a keyboard. And either way, it just works really well. So,
yeah. I think it's the 25th anniversary or maybe 25th or 30th. Whenever Vince put out his 25 track score,
25th anniversary version.
I think it is. It's the one they just put out on LP a couple of years ago for the last BotCon, which happened in Louisville, Kentucky. Kind of a thing. I love that score because I love that version of the score because I hear things in that score that I have never heard in this movie, in the music specifically. I looked over to my wife at the Junkion scene and I'm like, you do realize they put a Weird Al song in here, right? She goes, that's Weird Al? I'm like, yup. She just shook her head.
She couldn't recognize Weird Al?
don't know if she listens to a lot of Weird Al, but yeah.
Speaking of Weird Al, so we mentioned our favorite scenes. What about least favorite? And the reason I bring up Weird Al is because I absolutely hate that dance scene.
Yeah, you're not going to get a lot of argument from me on that. Not a big fan of Wheelie and how his voice is distorted and everything else as well. But the biggest issue I had with the dance scene and everything, too, is it's even less enjoyable when the Junkion voices make your ears bleed. So there's that.
Yeah, the dance scene is a little much. I mean, I get it. They're you know, enjoying, you know, all being friends via Ba Weep, Grana Weep, Nitty Bong, and all
I
of
like
that.
that they're basically dancing on the corpse of Ultra Magnus, and about 20 seconds later, they realize, oh shit, Ultra Magnus is dead, and we're sad.
They're like, oh.
And they're like, oh, wait, he's back together. Oh, wait, the Matrix is gone, and we're boned.
Yep.
Now we're sad again. Yeah, there's some tone shifts there. Yeah, whatever.
But they got it back. Yeah. They win.
Yeah.
Temporarily.
They got it back. They win. Well, yeah, temporarily, I guess. But I loved seeing this in theaters. I'm glad I was able to do it all these years later, because I'm sure I would turn out a different person if I ended up seeing this in theaters when I was 6 years old. So I think we are going to take a quick break, and you're going to hear some audio and some other stuff, as well as LadyWreck, BeatlesDiva, and Ha-Hee Prime give us their thoughts on their showings. We'll be back after this.
It isn't even dented! Oh shit, what are we going to do now?
I can't deal with that now.
Alright folks, it is time to talk to the fembots of all things Transformers, and What? Huh?
FemCon.
Whatever. They always make my life harder than it actually is, folks. Especially Nicole.
Don't go there.
So, with me I have Nicole, aka BeatlesDiva. Hello.
Bonjour. Aloha.
Ha-Hee Prime is also here.
Hello.
And of course, LadyWreck, Amy, is here as well.
You're putting me at the very end, the caboose again, dude.
Oh, stop it.
Hey, Caboose is awesome. I love Caboose.
That's a completely other podcast.
Yes.
That's the Nicki Minaj honorary podcast, right?
Talk about the
art of noise. I was thinking of Red versus Blue, but now I'm traumatized.
Oh boy. Alright, so we are here to get the Fembots' reactions to the announcement of the event of Transformers the movie from Fathom Events being released in theaters one night only, which was this past week, Thursday, September 27th, 2018. And what their reactions were when they were actually at the event. I did go, but you've heard my stuff around this part of the episode, folks. Nicole and Heather went together to see this. Now, what was...
We had a little date. It was awesome.
It was so awesome.
I feel left out.
You went with your kids.
Yes, but it's not the same as going with other fans. Believe me.
See, okay, so that's what, because Heather and I were just like, we were looking at, going, and we're like, oh, let's get tickets, and we're looking for a theater. I'm like, oh, well, this theater doesn't have a whole lot of seats sold out. I'm like, no, I kind of want to go where there's a lot of seats already sold out, to be where other fans are at. So it's just like, okay. So I told Heather that. I'm like, I kind of went to the theater that had a lot more tickets already sold, and I was like, I hope you don't mind.
That was a good call.
Yeah, because when we went to the theater then, we walked in and there was just a row of guys that were always, because we went in there fairly early, and so there's a row of guys there, and we just started chatting with them, and it was pretty awesome, so.
Sweet.
It was like walking into TFCon or BotCon or something where you're just instantly in the same zone with everybody, where we're like, yep, we know all the in-jokes, we've got the secret language code going on.
You go in and you look at each other like, hey, you're wearing the same swag I'm wearing. You just the head bob where you go, cool. Yeah, cool. Yeah. We're all from the 80s. Cool.
I think we should all say what shirt we wore.
Oh, yes. I wore a shirt that had the names. So it just said Unicron and Galvatron and Cyclonus and Scourge on it with their correlating colors. So
awesome. And I wore my Quintesso's Serial Joke shirt, which
nice.
is like the encapsulation of the movie and his joy.
I wore a hot pink baby doll shirt that said Transformers on it, and it has Prowl, Ironhide, and I believe Slag.
That's random.
One of the Dinobots on it. I'm like going, I don't remember which Dinobot, but yes.
I had
2 out of 3 of those didn't make it through the movie. Wow.
Yeah. Obviously. I had the Ripped Apparel Comedy Night shirt.
Nice.
It's Comedy Night on the top with Starscream on stage, Cyclonus on the left, and Galvatron on the right. Of course, as soon as I came home, I changed into my Wheeljack custom shirt, which I'm glad I didn't actually wear to the movie because, Wheeljack kind of dies. Spoiler!
That's why I wore my con shirt, because they're awesome. Yeah.
None of them died.
They were created. Mine were born from the movie. Booyah.
Nice.
Megatron and Galvatron are just the same guy, so...
Whatever. We could get into this debate another time.
In the movie, they are the same guy.
Okay, in the movie. Okay.
Yeah, it looked when I went to the theater, a lot of people that came in, it looked like I could tell that the dude was a fan because he was wearing swag. And I think there were a couple of people that looked like they had dragged their wives because they were, of course, getting up and going out every so often, getting, snacks and stuff like that. And I had the most silent theater ever because this is the 3rd time I've seen it on the big screen. Once when I was a kid, once after BotCon, I think 2009 or 2011, one of those 2, I don't remember which, and then this one. And so I didn't actually I've had the fan opportunity to hang out with fans after a convention. Of course, we were all hyper and it was wild. But this time around is like everybody was in this contemplative, channeling their inner.
Such heroic nonsense.
Because nobody clapped. Nobody said, woohoo! Nobody did anything. There wasn't a whistle. It was like you could have heard a pin drop and then the movie started. Nobody was wild. And I was like going, geez, you guys are very well behaved for fans.
we had a good audience, huh, Heather?
We had a pretty good audience, but it felt still a little. It was only about half full, and it was pretty quiet. We were the ones doing all the talking and research.
Well, we were also spread out because we had the lounger seats, so we really couldn't hear what other people were saying or talking about it. So, well, the first half, there wasn't really any seats, in the first half, but it looked like when I stood up the one time, most of the seats were sold in the back half of the theater.
Oh, good.
So,
oh, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like mine was pretty, like, at least all the seats behind us, most of them. I mean, it was a good showing, I'd say.
Good.
At the same time, when I bought tickets, I got an email or a Facebook alert from a bunch of Transformer fans that are in the area, and they all got together down about an hour and a half south of me. And so I was like, oh, sorry, guys, I can't come because I've already got tickets and I'm bringing the kids. So I was like, I'd really like to go and hang out. And, like, I was getting alerts from that. Like they got together after, like, work and were hanging out for a couple hours before the movie even started. And I was like, great, I'm being the mom. I'm being responsible. I can't go
was it like
ditch the
taking
kids.
your kids?
Oh, it was really good. I mean, like, okay, so you know how it is. As kids, we went, my mom endured it. She went and took me and all that. But, like, I was not the mom that's like, oh, I'm going to endure this again. I was like, no, I was quoting the movie the most of the time. And as soon as one of the other kids saw that I was, the Racklets saw that I was quoting it, they started turning to me and quoting it too. It was great.
Because I asked Heather, are you bringing the kids? And she's like, no. And when we went to pick her up, I'm like, did the kids know you're going here? And she's like, nope. I thought that was
Part
pretty
of it was that I was like, I can't afford to take all of them, and the other part of it, I'm just a skinflint, so I was just like, nope, don't have the money. They've already.
No, but let me tell you, Heather did something amazing before we went to the show, because I'm like, because we wanted to go out to eat before. I'm like, you pick the place, and she's like, well, what do you want? I'm like, I'm not picky when it comes to food. Look at me, come on. So she found the absolute most perfect place to eat. It was called Bumblebees, and I loved it.
It was so awesome. It was this bright yellow and red restaurant that sold Korean food, and it had like, what was the sign on the wall? This like Bumblebee.
Oh, Bumble stinks so good.
Yeah. It's the best.
But when she saw that, she's like, well, I've got a couple options, and there's this one place. Now, she's like, it's called Bumblebees. I'm like, we're going. It's going.
I was like, nothing else can really compare.
That's awesome.
It was awesome, and it was so good. It really was good. So I gotta give kudos to Heather for picking that out, man. Wow, that was awesome.
So yeah, we'll pimp the local restaurant on this podcast. So come through here.
You're in Utah, and you happen to be in the area. Where's it at? Is it in?
It's actually not too far from the convention center. Provo Convention Center. Not that far.
All right, awesome.
Yeah, if we can convince TFCon to ever come to like Provo or Salt Lake, we can totally hook people up.
And they should. They should. We're the geek capital of the nation. Hello.
Nice.
So next question, Mike. What questions do you have for us?
Questions? I don't know.
It's this really swaggy poster that they had.
Yeah, we got the poster.
All right, cool.
How early did you have to show up to get it?
Tell who drew this and who colored it.
I told my kids that we would that next year when Levio comes to the Comic-Con here that I can get their stuff signed, and they're like, "Cool, Mom."
Yeah, it was just there on the counter, and then when we left, we picked up a couple more for Heather's kids. So.
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah, I'm gonna...
Ours didn't even have it. Like, they said they were going to have it. We showed up at like 6:45 or 6:40 or something. We showed up basically 20 minutes before the movie was supposed to start, and they had a bunch of other stuff out on the counter and things, but they didn't even have the poster anymore.
Oh, that sucks.
See, with me, I came in actually because I went to a place that had reserved seats, so I reserved our seats ahead of time. Mm-hmm. Went and sat down. The movie didn't start for it was supposed to start at 7. It started at 7:15. I had enough time because I saw people coming in with the posters, and I guess it wasn't a very busy night because it was Thursday here, which is not a very busy night. But when I walked in, they didn't have anybody to take my tickets, so I just literally was like, well, I bought them online and I have them right here in my hand, and so I just walked in. There wasn't anybody to to scan or anything. Walked right in, sat down. Saw people come in with posters. I said, hey, where do you get those at? And they're like, oh, when you buy your tickets, they give it to you. I was like, oh, great. So I had to go all the way to the front. And the kids were like, we want one. I was like, we'll get it afterwards, but they might be gone. So I was like, okay, fine. I've seen the movie about a bazillion times, so you guys stay here. I walked to the front, got to the front, and I said, hey, I bought my tickets online, and I can show them to you if you need me to, but hey, I actually just came here to see, do you have any posters left? And they're like, oh, yeah, sure. And so they gave me 3 posters, and I took it back and gave the kids theirs. I said, do you want me to hang on to them? They tossed it back to me, of course. Of course. I'm the mule, yeah.
That's what they say, moms are the mules. So.
Yeah, I just kept it from getting all bent and stuff like that. But, yeah, that was poster. Yay.
Yeah. Nicole had the good idea to take the poster to TFCon and get everybody to sign it, and I told the kids I would do that, and they're like super excited now.
Mm-hmm. Awesome, yeah.
So, and then I figure I got just like Nicole said, a couple of extra ones, so I'll give those to people who couldn't make it to the show that I know.
You're so awesome.
What was it? Okay, so this version, because as we all know, there are plenty of versions of this movie, but we are at the definitive version at this point, with Shout Factory releasing the 30th anniversary DVD and Blu-ray a couple of years ago. And that was what this version was. Now, they did preface this with the Bumblebee preview. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that in a minute.
Okay.
We'll talk about the Bumblebee preview in a minute for the new movie coming out this Christmas. I was surprised that, and I know this is a Fathom Events thing, and I was told that Fathom Events is just basically the DVD or Blu-ray or whatever it is, basically upscaled to the big screen kind of a thing. I was surprised that, I don't know what your all's showings had, but mine just started with the DEG logo, like the actual opening of the film. It didn't really do anything before that.
Yeah, no, because I told Heather. I mean, I've been to several Fathom events. They start right on time, and of course, there's a lot of people that came in late because you're like, "Oh, but don't worry, we got 20 minutes of previews." No,
no.
Now, if you guys are listening to this, Fathom events starts right on time. They usually might have a little bit at the beginning.
Except mine.
Yeah, that's weird because sometimes they'll have.
Maybe they were having problems with the connection or something. I don't know.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, they usually they have someone from like Turner Classic Movies come on and say a little bit of what's going on with the show, and it gives like a little bit of trivia here and there, and then boom, they start the show. This one, they actually had the Bumblebee preview, little preview beforehand. So yeah, I was ready for it. I was ready, for it to start on time because I've been to Fathom events several times. So,
gotcha. Cool.
It was neat. I was like there to pay attention to all the details I hadn't noticed before because I've only watched it on
you're
small
like
screen.
On a really, really big screen. You're not just on a little small computer screen or.
So I was super intently looking at all the details and like noticing how the backgrounds had been painted and being like a total art dork nerd.
It was awesome because I was the one part I turned to Heather. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is absolutely gorgeous. Is of course the big Megatron and Optimus fight, and Megatron's like in the shadows. Oh my gosh, it looks so beautiful on the big screen. I was like, oh my gosh, look at this. This is amazing. Because I would never got to see it on the big screen ever in my life. Because I grew up in a small town where the nearest theater was like 45, 50 miles away, and if it came out in the winter, well, you're screwed. So, because there's no way you're going across flatlands, risking winter in
risking
Wyoming.
your life to go watch a movie. Yeah.
Good times.
Yeah.
It's fun.
So the Bumblebee preview, what do we think?
I'm excited.
I was really thrilled with a couple of details about it. I've kind of tried to go back now and kind of look at things, but I've never really said any like critical things about the movieverse designs and things like that. But something that like I guess maybe now I notice it just because of this shift in this. And I did tweet about this, so maybe some people, if you're following me on Twitter, you probably already heard this. But I really, really dug what they're doing with the design of Bumblebee. Specifically, I love his eyes. And the reason being is because, and I noticed it right off the very beginning because I tend to look at, people in the face and in their eyes. I have got an autistic kid that didn't do it for the longest time, and it was really driving me nuts. But he does it now. But, back when he was a little kid, he wouldn't look you in the eye because he just didn't like that. But I have a big thing about eyes, and when I saw the preview, instantly I was just like, oh, I like that. Ooh, I really, really like that because it has this depth to it. And I probably, if I was just watching just a little preview, in my browser window at home, I probably wouldn't even notice it. But because we were on a big screen, seeing however, I think it was like a 2 or 3 minute long preview of the movie, and the first thing I saw was that went, ooh, I like that. I really, really like that, especially since, if you think about it, a lot of the reviews that have come out over the years over the Transformers movies is the fact that they're just like chess pieces being moved around on screen. We don't get any depth about their character. The fact that there was characterization in this, and we actually get to see, his eyes the way that they are, just like, okay, you've got me excited about this. I kind of do want to go to this movie. I kind of hope that it really, really works. Yesterday I went and watched Kubo and the Two Strings, and it's made me even more excited. So I'm going, okay, can we actually be a little excited about this? I mean, after having 5 movies and disappointment, you know what? This might actually work.
Nicole, do you want to tell about the awesome standee they had?
Oh yeah, so you probably had some in your theater. They have this big, huge, movie promo of Bumblebee, and we walked past it. I'm like, his eyes are moving. Those eyes are moving. And we're just like, and of course, me and Heather are like, we gotta get a picture in front of it. So there's this little old guy sitting there, and he took a really cute picture of us, and it was so fun.
Nice.
But, oh my gosh, I love that standee. I'm pretty sure you guys' theaters, well, one of your theaters might have it, but if you just look at it, it'll follow you, and it's amazing. And I'm just like, it felt like it came to life, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I truly am excited for this movie, and people have judged me because I'm excited for a Transformers movie, and I'm like, I don't care. I'm excited for my documentary, as I called it with Heather. It's my documentary because it's about a girl who's my age, who had my car, who had my haircut. This is my documentary.
Nice. This is so Nicole.
This is my documentary.
It doesn't matter that her name is Charlie. It's actually really Nicole.
Oh well,
disregard all of that.
Government secrets.
Her secret name is Charlie.
Exactly. I keep on telling everyone it's a documentary about my life with my VW
They had
Beetle.
They had to change the names
to protect the innocent.
The innocent, exactly. They had to change the names to protect the innocent parties that were involved. But it is my story. Thank you.
Yeah. And Nicole, of course, your code name is Charlie because we are the angels on this podcast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep. It's been 11 years since the first film came out. In 11 years, we're finally getting a brand new director.
Yay!
Travis Knight is the director of Bumblebee. As Amy said, he did Kubo and the Two Strings.
One of the best movies of all time.
It's still a delightful movie. If you haven't seen it, definitely get it and bring tissue because I was bawling by the end. I was like, I love this movie.
It will destroy you.
Remember, that's what I was telling you, Heather. I'm like, I don't want to see it because I'm not ready to cry yet.
Oh, this is even better. When right at the very end, my son comes in to give me a hug. He says, "Are you crying?" Like, yes, I'm crying. He's like, "Why?" It's like, it's such a good movie. He's like, but it's making you cry.
There's no crying in Kubo and the Two Strings. Yes, there is. Okay.
It totally is. It's a good cry. I said it's not a bad cry. It's such a good movie. It's a good cry. These are happy tears, I swear.
No, but I like the humanity that you felt with Bumblebee with that preview. There was no music in the background. It was just Charlie and Bee. Yeah,
still doesn't speak, but I'm okay with that because they characterized him.
Yeah, and you could just feel the raw emotion because she's trying to comfort him, and we don't know exactly what's gone on with him. I mean, if you've seen the other trailers, you know what's going on, but just to know that there's something going on, and she has the humanity to treat this creature who's not organic as someone with feelings and a life, and I love that. I love Charlie already. I'm like, I love this girl.
Well,
it's gonna be awesome.
This is getting it right. All of the, so when the last night was coming out, I really felt like the girl, I can't remember her name, but I liked her. I felt like she was going to be the character.
Oh no, the other little kid
that we all, imagine ourselves to be, the person who gets to hang out with the giant robots, and this looks like it's going to be that done right, and that
not just a sub character that we just had for a few minutes, and that's really cute and great, but they just ticked the checkbox off on that one, and then it was actually somebody else who was the main character. Yeah.
So anyway,
he was so impressed. We forgot her name.
I know.
Anybody cry on that deathbed in the movie?
I'm immune at this point, even though I think it's a good scene.
I've seen it so many times.
No, but it did still look good. I mean, it was, man, when you could hear the music louder and surrounding you in the theater. I mean, the score really, really puts it to you, and you're just like, oh, wow. I'm trying to put myself back when I was 8 years old and this came out, and I'm just like, oh my gosh. I'm just like, it still amazes me that back in the day they actually killed off an iconic hero for children and the impact that it created. And you're just like, and I went back then, and I was just like, me and Heather were having this conversation. They would probably not do that these days, you know? I mean,
would get rated more than just, you know, G.
Well, the thing is, if they did that these days, you would know. Well, that's the thing. You would know about it months in advance. Well, because of social media, you know about it weeks in advance, so you prepare yourself. Back then, this was a shocker. Just like no one knew that Optimus was going to kick the can. You know, you're just like, whoo, you know. And I kind of missed that, you know, that emotion. So to see that deathbed scene again, I was just like, oh wow.
Well, it didn't save my kids. Didn't save my kids. I took them to see it anyhow. And I told him, I said after we saw it, got in the car, I said I was probably a few years older than my middle son, who's 11. I was probably about, I was either 9 or 10 when I saw it on the big screen when it first came out. So I wasn't much older than he is, maybe by a year or two younger than him. It's like, and I showed it to him when they were a little bit younger than that, because I had the DVD and stuff. So I've shared it with them earlier than that. But yeah, you're right. It's very, you're not going to see stuff like that nowadays. Disney, everything's Disney-fied. But yeah, now that I think about it, I was like, I didn't cry at his death, but because, you know, you're in the situation, you're listening to this, and, you know, it's like, don't get me wrong, it was kind of emotional to see that, but I wasn't like bawling about it. I was like, oh man, this really just going to kick me in the heart right here. Boom.
Yeah, I was mostly just watching the technical aspects of it. Like, how was this made? How... Yeah, I just found it really interesting to kind of analyze it in that way this time.
Yeah.
To look at it as a piece of work.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, in the theater, seeing, you know, for the first, because I hadn't seen it either when I was a kid. I was 7 or 8 by the time I caught it on VHS, because back then, in the olden days, folks, you know, stuff didn't hit, you know, media very fast as it does today. Movies are in theaters, you know, at least a year or something, or at least 6 months or more, whereas nowadays movies will be in theaters for 6 months and then the DVD, Blu-ray, digital, whatever will be out. Yep. Absolutely. All right. Anything else you ladies want to bring up before we get the heck out of here?
Oh, do you guys stay up to the after credits?
Yes.
Stan Bush. I thought that was awesome. I want to get those acoustic versions.
Yeah, I was going to say, I didn't expect that. And to see that afterwards, I was like, oh, it's acoustic. Oh, I can't wait. I want to get that. I was like, I wonder if YouTube. I want to listen to that again.
Oh, it's Stan Bush. It'll be up on YouTube. he likes this.
It was fun.
Yeah, it just made me feel, I'm like, when he was talking and everything, I'm just like, man, I really wish I could have been at TF Nation this year when he was there and everyone was rocking out, you know?
Yeah, I kept telling Nicole, I'm like, you should have seen everybody's videos on Twitter, and everybody was being adorable and excited and cute.
I loved it.
Yeah.
Especially that one with Nick.
I know. Best. Thank you, Amy. I was like, somebody squee with me about how cute Nick was.
I kid you not. I was sitting when that went live. I thought, okay, I can't wait. I gotta click this. It looks like Nick's in this one. I was like, oh my goodness. So I click on it. I was crying happy tears before the end, going, oh my gosh. Yes. Yeah. I was having a meltdown over that one. Oh my gosh, it's so awesome! They had me open! Oh my gosh!
Is that when we saw Randall Ing's name?
Yeah.
Was
Yeah,
it?
it was the end credits of that, and we okay, so the movie ends and we're in kind of a subdued theater, so everybody kind of does subdued applause, like nobody lost their minds. And then we're watching, the people who stayed, about half the theater left, and people who stayed to watch the Stan Bush thing, we stayed to the end, and we're just like chilling, and then it gets to the end credits, we see Randall Ing's name, and we do like the loudest applause anybody had done all night.
Nice.
What you should have been was like, Randall, we know that guy.
It was so much fun. And thank you, Heather, for joining me. It was so fun to see you with you.
Oh yeah, thanks for being the person who thinks of getting together and doing stuff.
We're like, we gotta do this. We gotta make this happen.
So, moral of the story, everybody: find a friend and do things with them.
Yeah.
Well, there's another movie coming out in a couple months.
Oh, we've already got it planned.
Maybe I'll fly down or fly up there, and we'll go see it all together.
And if you were still in denial that it's not a documentary about me, it comes out the day before my birthday, I believe. So,
man,
come on! It's my birthday movie, and it's about me. It's my documentary. I just need more John Cena in my life.
But you can't see him.
I know. Anyways. Okay.
All right, so letting the ladies compose themselves, at least Nicole anyway, we're going to get back to Jesse, Ryan, and I and close out the show after this.
This is getting expensive.
Spare me this mockery of justice.
We are back here on All Things Transformers.
This is long enough for a piss break, man.
Did you have to go to the bathroom?
No, I was just teasing.
Or are you saying you did go to the bathroom during the
right
break?
in my pants, man. Right in my pants.
I was going to say, in which case, since you didn't leave, that's a little disturbing.
Yeah, that's very disturbing. That's about as disturbing as how, they run into Wheelie on the planet of junk.
So Transformers the movie, better or worse than 3 episodes of The New Adventures of He-Man, Mike?
Hello? Alright, so this is funny that you even mentioned that because I believe...
Well, I know you're watching it, so...
Well, yes, but see, here's the thing. Is it the next episode that I'm releasing? One of the episodes, so episode 99 of the Powers of Grayskull series podcast features an episode of New Adventures of He-Man called Rock into the Future. I'm basically saying this right here and right now. Yes, I understand everyone hates this certain episode that I'm going to be mentioning, but I am going to be putting in clips from Carnage in C minor from Season 3 to replace Rock into the Future because that Transformers episode is single-handedly better than the New Adventures of He-Man episode, even though Carnage in C minor is kind of bad.
I regret bringing this up.
It's your fault, see?
This is a series that takes place in space or something?
New Adventures of He-Man. It was in 1990 when it aired. It was after the Filmation era.
Yeah, I never watched that.
Yeah,
watch the original.
Don't watch it. It's not worth it. It's absolutely not worth it. So, Transformers the movie, Fathom Events. I dug it. I thought it was cool. I don't know how many if I get to go to other Fathom events kind of thing that I would go to. It's going to depend on what it is. Like, as of right now, between 2013 and now, I've seen 2 movies in theaters that I had not seen when I was a kid. I saw Top Gun in 2013 when it was released to theaters for a limited time, and then I've seen Transformers the movie. So what I do think is great is that we're able to go back and see some of the stuff we didn't get to see as kids in theaters. I think that's cool. And as Ryan said, passing the torch on to a new generation, if you have kids, kind of a thing where, you can show it to them, in theaters. I think
traumatize
that's cool.
them.
No, stop.
The way I was traumatized, make them all cry. It's what I'm telling you.
Uh-huh.
Probably, these are the same people. They probably took all their kids to see Infinity War. Oh, I don't want to go, Mr. Stark. Oh,
and that movie is a cliffhanger.
Well, everybody's dead at the end, so... if you're really mean, you could tell your kids, like, I don't think they're coming back. This is why I'm not allowed to have children.
Oh, wow.
I'll give Jesse some ideas on parenting, though. It'll be good.
Oh, boy.
I can do a parenting podcast with you. How about that?
Oh.
Actually, anyway, we'll talk about that off air. Any other final thoughts?
Podcast?
No! No. I never.
Now you're going to sit and enjoy your Sonic the Hedgehog marathon.
Oh, God, stop it.
Which version?
Let's not get into this now, please. Let's stay on topic. Final thoughts, Jesse.
That's the first time you've ever told me that.
Fathom. No, it's really not. You know better than that.
My final thoughts on Fathom?
On the event in general.
Oh, well, because I was gonna say this is my first time going to Fathom event, so. So I guess I don't know what the extra money kind of went for, right? I don't feel like it was anything super special.
Yeah.
Like I've gone to like local small movie theaters that have shown, essentially DVD versions of a film.
Right.
More specifically, like around Halloween, so like, go to like a local small theater to see Friday the 13th or the Halloween film or whatever, and it's generally like a really cheap ticket. So for this, it was like it was billed as like this special event, one night only, at least here in the U.S.
Yep.
So we paid a little bit more money for a ticket than what I generally would at the movie theater. Didn't get my poster. So I don't know, and we did get that sneak preview of Bumblebee, which, like I said, was just an extended version of the trailer or the teaser or whatever. Right. So I don't know that I necessarily got my money's worth, but I was happy to finally actually see it in the movie theater, see it up on the big screen. Like I said, in the version that I saw, it didn't sound tinny. I wasn't listening to it through a tin can. I don't know that it was actually true 5.1. I'm assuming it was. It sounded like it was surround sound.
It probably was.
So overall, I had a really great experience. I just don't know that it was worth the extra Fathom event price. But I was really happy to finally see it on the big screen.
The Fathom Events price here in the U.S., I believe, was $12.50 a piece. I think we ultimately ended up paying after taxes and whatever else, like just under $30. I felt like I was okay. Like, I just wanted to see the movie on the big screen. I didn't even know until I actually saw the Fathom Events post on Facebook. I didn't even know about the free poster at first, so I'm not like whatever. Like I said at the beginning of the podcast, whatever. I would have liked to have seen what the poster was, but doesn't really matter. I loved seeing the movie on the big screen because I never had before, kind of a thing. And if I really want to watch it again, I'm obviously going to watch the 30th anniversary edition. So, what about you? Oh, go ahead, Jesse.
Sorry, I was looking at my card here. I spent $26 with tax, and I think there was like $1 processing fee for doing it online or whatever. It was $26.70. So normally, a ticket, at least in my area, is like roughly $9 something, slightly less than $10. So it's a little bit of a premium on there, but I guess it wasn't too bad.
Not too bad. What about you, Ryan, since you saw it like multiple times on multiple days?
I was just happy to enjoy it with different people, but the big one was the first showing that I went to with Sarah, and there were 4 others with us, 2 other couples. And it was just neat to see it with 2 people that had never seen it before and kind of share the experience, because that's not something you necessarily get. Like, it's not the same if you sit on the couch and play it on the TV, even if you've got a really nice setup and that kind of thing.
Holding your phone, watching porn in the other hand.
Listen, how you watch movies is up to you. Don't look at me. Anyway,
wow.
Yeah, I just enjoy it. So it was definitely worth it. I was personally happy to see it on the big screen again too, and I was really happy that for the most part everybody else enjoyed it.
Yeah, same here. Where can the people find you online, Jesse?
Am I
He
still
doesn't
online?
want them to.
We're not online anymore. I mean, I guess you can find me on Twitter. I don't even know what my Twitter handle is. Is it Matrix_Prime? I think.
Yes.
You can also find me on YouTube. It's youtube.com/MatrixPrime, no underscore.
And on Facebook?
No, I'm not on Facebook, no. Yeah, it's youtube.com/Matrix Prime. No underscore. Whoa. Video playing. What do you think my number one video is from month to month? So I should preface this by saying I really don't put out any sort of normal content anymore on any regular basis.
Yeah. Ever since they took away the partnership, I don't put shit out. They're like, oh, if you can't hit these numbers, well, forget it. It's not worth it because no one can hit those numbers unless you're producing daily or hourly content.
See, they haven't taken that away from me yet.
Well, you must have the numbers then.
Well, so just take a wild guess as to what my number one video is every month.
Optimus Prime review.
Ryan?
The time you reviewed the figure? I don't know.
No, so back on February 8th, 2012, I recorded a video on how to make homemade dill pickles.
Oh, jeez.
I threw it up there, and that's the number one video every month.
Wow.
You should add to it. Just see if there's a new way to do it. And...
Well, so I had a follow-up that I added on there. That was like shortly after I recorded that one. I did have another cooking video that I threw up there, which has gotten some views, but nowhere near as the number on the dill pickle video.
You should just do dill pickle recipes and just be the dill pickle channel.
Well, so I thought about getting like the goggles with like the big nose and the mustache, and getting like a chef's hat, and like doing like a personality and recording cooking videos. But
you could be cooking with Grimlock. I think there's actually a Facebook fan page called Cooking with Grimlock, so that's probably why I said that. What about you, Ryan? Where can the people find you online?
At Nightbeat on Twitter.
Awesome. I am at TFG and Mike. You can follow at All Things TFV3 on Twitter for all the show updates. Follow at Geekcast Radio for all the other Geekcast Radio stuff. We will catch you next time here on All Things Transformers when any of us could be back. None of us might be back. I don't know. I got to talk to Steve and see what he wants to do.
Do you have a topic for the next show?
I don't know yet. We can talk about that afterwards. Transform, roll out. I don't know. I'm not sure. Transform, roll out, transform, transcend, all that good stuff. We will catch you next time, folks, here on All Things Transformers.
Grimlock need new strategy.
You just hope some news breaks weekly. That's what we had to do.
Till all are one.